Well, hello, Lake Avenue Church. I hope you are doing well on this Friday update. Normally, one method actually of prayer or of kind of spiritual reflection is around concentric circles, individually, locally, nationally, and then globally. I think you might notice that pattern sometimes in the way people lead you in corporate prayer. And I'm going to follow that concentric circle in reverse to bring some information to you on this Friday. So I'm going to start with global and then end with individual. So globally, hey, I want to tell you, Lake Avenue Church, I am so proud to be a part of this church family. We had significant financial goals for December. We also felt the Lord call us that 5% of all that would come in at the end of December would go globally to a water project in northern Kenya in the Turkana Valley. And I got to tell you, when all the numbers are said and done, not only did we beat projections for our general fund giving, but when we actually take the 5% to the water project, we're over budget, which means we can generously fund the water project in Turkana, and we have money left over. We're about $45,000 over projections for our general fund and about $47,000 that has been dedicated towards the water project. And we will pay and give money generously to that water project, but we also have a good problem to have. And the problem is, what are we going to do with all that other money that's been dedicated to the water project? And so Scott White and those in our missions area are going to be looking at the needs that some of our other missionaries might have that fall in line with that same kind of opportunity. And I look forward, most likely at our congregational meeting at the end of the month, to let you know how we will use the rest of those funds. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would be over our general fund projection. And never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd be having meetings about what to do with the excess money that came in above and beyond what we need for the water project. So thank you. Globally, Lake Avenue Church, this is part of our DNA, and I'm so grateful for the way in which our ministry, our mission, our giving impacts beyond just the immediate. So that's our global update. Now nationally, what a week nationally. And I just want to let you know, we're going to talk about that this weekend in our worship service. What happened in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday was horrible, was horrific, was a significant moment in history for us to understand how our faith in Jesus impacts and feeds into how we see these things and how we understand what it means to be a follower of Jesus. We are starting a new series this week, and I see God's providence for us to be in the book of Nehemiah. In fact, I encourage you, read Nehemiah chapter 1 before Sunday. The title of the sermon is Clear Eyes and Full Heart. And I think what I hope we will see in the text that will inform us for how we see what has happened this week in our country and what is happening in our country is that we would have the clear eyes and a full heart, that we'd be able to see the fullness of what is happening, and that we would connect our hearts to God and our hearts with to one another in ways that are consistent with what we can learn from Nehemiah. Our series is called Courageous Faith, and we're starting out with right out of the gate, Nehemiah 1. What a week in our country. What a text for us as a church. I look forward to being with you this weekend to bring that word. But I want you to know very clearly we're gonna discuss that. And I'm going to have some comments that prayerfully come from the text and come from our faith in Jesus. But that's what we'll be doing this week, not in response to what's happened in our country, but in context of what's happening in our country. Locally, right here in Pasadena, know that our COVID response team has been meeting with county officials, meeting with city officials, meeting with medical doctors, and we have discerned what is wise and good for us at this particular moment is to take about 3 weeks off of our outdoor worship service gathering. Now, that gathering, there's been a faithful group of people who have come to that. It hasn't necessarily been growing. If that is your environment where you have been connecting, ask you to hang in there just for 3 to 4 weeks. Really, we discern 2 to 3 weeks, but we have our congregational meeting at the end of the month. And because of that, it's just easier for us to communicate that for the month of January, we feel led to just hit pause on that. Some of that, none of that has anything to do that we think what we have been doing has been unsafe. In fact, quite the opposite. And I want to thank those of you who have been coming to our campus for ministry in person, that you've followed all the guidelines. You have worn your mask, social distance, really followed what's been asked of you. We feel very confident in what we have been doing is safe. But in light of being a good neighbor, in light of the realities that are happening in Pasadena, in local hospitals, and what's being asked of schools that have waivers just for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we have discerned what's wise and good for us in light of what's happening in our larger community is to be a good neighbor and to just hit pause. I look forward to resuming in February. I look forward to opening more and more in 2021 as the vaccine happens, as this surge comes down. Hey, quick testimony on New Year's Eve. If you're not connected to any of these medical realities, I just want you to know on New Year's Eve, I've got a 12-year-old son, and he broke his arm, and it was significant. It required an ambulance, and to our surprise, the closest emergency room that would take him was 30 minutes away. The impact at Huntington, the impact at Methodist, the reality was that because he was a kid, he was being able to be seen very quickly. If he was an adult, we were told by the paramedics and the firefighter that it would be up to 2 days before he could get into an emergency room. So these are not just headlines that aren't connected to realities. My own family can give testimony to how impacted our local hospitals are. And because we are being asked to be good neighbors and to be consistent with the way we engage in our community, we're going to just hit pause on that. Look forward to being back in February, no doubt. Finally, individually, know that as you enter 2021, you're being prayed for. You're deeply loved by God. You're deeply loved by those in this congregation, those on the leadership of this church. I got to tell you, it was a tough week. Some of that because of the arm break. Some of that just because I think the enemy is crafty. And I've found myself in different moments this week being discouraged. And yet, as it gets closer to Sunday, and as I record this message to you today, I can say with a full heart how much I look forward to worshiping with you this weekend. I believe God has a word for us through the music that we will sing in worship, through the times of prayer we will have in worship services, and through what God wants to reveal to us about what it means to have courageous faith in a difficult moment to be alive. Nehemiah's moment was difficult, and yet he found the courage to be obedient. And that's where we'll be heading, not just this week, but for weeks to come. Stay tuned. We've got all kinds of things, like I think you got till Monday for your nominating committee forums. We have a congregational meeting at the end of January. We have a new members class tomorrow. It's not too late to sign up for that. God is doing great things among you, His church at Lake Avenue. And what a gift, what a joy. To be along for the ride in this season. So have a blessed day, a blessed weekend, and I look forward to being in worship with you on Sunday at 9, 11, or whenever you will stream the worship services. Be well. We love you. Bye-bye.